Whew. Rees, we have seen some rising matches in recent seasons. We have seen
Yep.
some collapses. We've seen some stinkers. That was something.
It was bad.
Not great. Let's talk about in 30. Hello. Welcome to the PHNX Rising podcast. Appreciate everyone joining us here on a Wednesday evening. I am Max, the ad man Simpson, joined to my left, your right. It is Rees, stat lackey Goodall.
You can ask me a question like how I am today, anything like that?
I mean, now I am. Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Max.
Oh, nice.
Talking to you and not Owen. So
hey, we love that. Yeah,
always
Mr.
just step up.
Vacations. He's
Mr.
at it again.
Vacations.
You know, honestly, we try to preach consistency within this podcast, right? You know, we try to be reliable, try to give you, show up every week. And it's just tough when guys are just leaving on vacation. It's just, we're not here to badmouth Owen, especially when he's,
But
not
we
here
are.
to defend
We
himself.
really
But we
are.
are,
Yeah.
So, also, of course, we have Noah behind the brand redacted computer. It is, by the way, week one of NFL coming up. The other football does start tomorrow. I am playing Noah in fantasy. So this will be the only complimentary thing I might even be saying to you. Is that right?
Sure. Sounds good.
Nice. All right. Well, before we get in any further, we do want to let you guys know it is Big Brothers Big Sisters Month here at PHNX. We are supporting such a great cause across not just PHNX, but across ALLCITY network. Help young kids in the Valley and throughout the state get the mentorship they need by simply hitting the donate button right here when you are watching on YouTube. Anything helps as we push for our overall ALLCITY goal of $50,000 this month, $50,000 this month is what we're hoping to raise throughout September. Again, help support the great work Big Brothers and Big Sisters is doing in the community by hitting the donate button today. All right. Got a lot to talk about here on the PHNX Rising.
Do we have
podcast.
to?
Oh, dude, we have to. It's gonna be
man.
gonna be brutal.
It's gonna be
Listen. On a night where Phoenix Rising. There's a lot of football going on in the Valley on Saturday night, right? You going an ASU NAU matchup, a little football, and hey, big win there. And it felt like it was going to be that for Phoenix Rising, right? Going up, going to halftime, have a little lead, build on it. You're feeling great. And then it collapsed. It collapsed pretty quickly. Before we get into the collapse, I mean, overall, when you kind of look at this matchup, you're seeing the lineup, you're seeing, who Rising is putting out, and you kind of get into kind of the buildup of this. When you see, Isan Sako, he's firing, he scored within the first 10 minutes. He ends up adding one shortly after the second half begins. I mean, you're thinking the way that this match is rolling, this is something where, hey, it's against an El Paso team. There's, been a stifling opponent in years past, but like, they're seemingly handling them pretty well. And this is one where you look at this, even before going to halftime, they do have El Paso, I will say, they did have a couple chances, one off the post, a couple others where like a foot or two wide, a last ditch intervention. This may not be as smooth as it is going in halftime, but you have the lead going in halftime and you're thinking, okay, there's something here.
I think the main issue, though, is Rising just didn't create enough chances for themselves. Like, in that first half, second half, doesn't matter. They had 2 shots in the first half, one of which was on target, the Isan Sako goal in the 7th minute. The rest of the first half, they didn't get a shot on target. I mean, we talked about last week when you were on vacation yourself, Max,
tough.
that can this team be consistent from that
Also not
Colorado
vacation,
Springs performance
for the
where they
record.
scored 4 goals and were just overly clinical, a rate of just clinicalness that we haven't seen from this team, not just this season, but really in club history. I did a deep dive on the stats, and it was literally the most clinical performance Rising's ever had last week. And I mean, technically, if you look at it, Rising had 3 shots on target in this game, and they scored 3 goals, which is
it's clinical.
It's
about
clinical.
as clinical as they come.
The issue is you only get 4 shots in total in 60 minutes with 11 men. obviously, they go down to 10. It's a very different game from that point on. But it's very weird to say in a game where you score 3 goals, you didn't create enough chances, but that's really the case.
I mean, listen, this is one where, right, Phoenix Rising, they were outpossessed, they were outshot, they were outshot by shots on target, less big chances, to your point. I mean, listen, I think like this is one where this club has been guilty of not being as clinical, especially earlier on this season. But again, we have seen that I think their biggest point of issue, which we have mentioned before, is this is not like the Phoenix Rising teams of old where maybe they're getting a bunch of chances, but they're not clinical. You're hoping that the means average out and that they start putting the ball in the back of the net. They did well of, you have those 3 shots on target, you put burying them all. The issue is this second half, that is a different story. And I think like that collapse, I think it is like unforgivable in the sense of like, you should not be allowing a team to come back to you with 3 unanswered goals when you're leading 3-0 with 15 minutes left to play in 90. Like that is unexcusable. That being said, it is still over the greater like microcosm of the season. You will not be able to stay in games and get points consistently if you're only getting in 3 to 4 shots on target throughout the match, regardless of how many you put in the back of the net. If you're hitting 3 out of 3 every single match, all power to you. You're clinical no matter how many shots on target you're getting. We just don't see that happening. We don't see that in USL. We don't see that in MLS. You don't see that happening within the beautiful game across the landscape. That's FIFA numbers you're putting up, and it doesn't happen all the time.
I mean, just imagine you have this performance against the Sacramento team who has Danny Vitiello in that. I don't know if Vitiello gets caught out like that on the Darius Johnson goal. He probably saves at least one of the Saka goals. And all of a sudden, that match, you've only scored 1 goal, and now you need to defend and create more chances with a team that can't really do much of that. I mean, we've seen, we're going to talk about, is the defensive collapses from this team have been constant and rampant throughout the season. And again, as we were talking about, we've been talking about this whole show to this point, is this team struggles so much creating chances over a consistent basis.
Goldman Pat in the chat. I mean, right, we're getting into the collapse later, right? How nice would those lost points in the collapse against Detroit, Birmingham, and El Paso be right now? You're doing the math, would be in second place.
That's 7 points they lost in those brutal. 3 games, and 2 of them are against Eastern Conference opponents, which would be 3 points pretty much. Yeah. And all 3 of those games are at home. That's the main thing. It's not like they're going on the road on a Wednesday to Birmingham, going up 2-0 and then drawing 3-3. They're blowing these games at home.
Like right, the home has not been kind to Rising.
No, it has not
this season. It's been tough. Yeah, I mean, listen. Again, this is kind of like the. It's not even an argument. I think it's just this is kind of how we're seeing this play out of we're both agreeing this is not sustainable long term of having that few shots on target. I will say it is nice to like come, regardless of how they come to it, even if it wasn't a ton of shots, they were able to bury and be clinical in that aspect. So I will give the team credit for that. It's just you need to be able to challenging more, because we always go back to how can you maximize your margins and really give yourself the best chance of victory? It's by pressuring the other team more consistently. As we get into it, does this team eke out a win if maybe, there isn't that second yellow? If Rising have full 11, I think very much possible, but I think you just don't even have to get to that point if you are really being able to threaten the other team consistently. It's not just shots on target too. It's also the whole thing of field tilt. It's being able to have your team sit up a little bit further. It's everything that kind of comes off of, hey, you're putting the team under pressure consistently.
Yeah, and to Goalieman Pat's comment in there is, can it be called a defensive collapse? Though after I read they weren't decent they were decent defensively. El Paso wasn't getting much. His goalkeeping blunders that made the difference. I have to disagree there, because the goalkeeping blunders absolutely led to El Paso scoring the final 2 goals.
Sure.
But I think defensively Rising were quite poor throughout the 30-minute odd stretch when Asenge was off the pitch, because it was time after time. They're not going after these 50-50 balls. When they're not winning them. They're not even close. They lost so many duels in that time. It was the second balls. Nothing was going. It wasn't going their way. They just were not putting their best foot forward. And then again, on the first goal, you see that the defense completely opens up to, I can't remember who it was, Armando Moreno to score the goal, where it's not quite a runner at the back post, but it's a runner in the box that Rising's basically, it's their Achilles heel at this point in the season, and it strikes them again, and the rest is history.
Yeah. We definitely honestly can spend a decent amount of time on just the second half, and we will. Before we get into that, I want to dissect, some of Rising's goals, knowing that especially right, a 3-goal output, especially for this club, it's not something we have even, it's not something we can always hang our hat on, especially of late. Right, the Isan Sako first goal. I mean, yeah, real time and kind of looking at review, it looks offsides. Very much so. I don't even think it's too close, but hey, doesn't get called. Takes it well. I really like, honestly. I mean, the third goal by Darius Johnson. I mean, that's just great dribbling.
Goal of the week FC.
I mean, goal of the week FC. I mean, right? He dribbles through what, six Paso defenders, something like that. Very well worked.
6 or 7.
Even the second one, though, I think Kevin Arase, the way that he was moving off the ball, was able to really kind of receive that on the kind of the edge of the 6-yard box, cut it back for Isan Sako. I really enjoyed his movement. I think that I don't know. I think that was a pretty well worked goal. It's one of the better team goals that I've seen from them in recent memory.
I also liked the amount of just long balls that Rising were playing, whether it be into Kelvin Arase on the right or in the Isan Sako, like the goal they had on the ball they played on the first goal. It was Daniel Flores playing it to Isan Sako. Yes, Sako's offside, very much so. But they did do a lot of just long balls out of the back that when they found their target, it put pressure on El Paso's defense. When it didn't find their target, it was a little iffy. But when it works, I think there's nothing better than a long ball to the man up top and takes it, scores.
100%. I mean, listen, like you have some size, in that position. You have some positional versatility. It's someone who they don't just have to play back to goal. That you can see, they're able to move off the ball and play, kind of across that front line. So it gives you something a little bit different. I like the directness. I think this is one where, again, we've seen that Rising will kind of live and die by that transition within that midfield. But like when it was on, it was on. The counterattack was really, really beautiful. This is something where Phoenix Rising, I think when they were able to soak up some of that pressure and hit on the counter, they really are one of the more dangerous teams. And we saw that on the goals. It was great for them. As we'll get into, there is the downside to it.
I don't even want to talk about it. If I was watching this after the show, I'd just skip like 30 minutes.
That's fair. Well, we will have to talk about it, but we will do so on the other side of the break. All right. I do have something to kind of uplift you a little bit. Shout out to our friends over at Spencer's TV and Appliances. They really did, first off, help us out. We are in our brand new studios, of course, here at PHNX. This is the third iteration of the PHNX studios, and they helped to not only outfit us completely with our brand new TVs in our viewing room, where it's great for watch-alongs. We have 4 beautiful TVs mounted side by side. Nice. But also they mounted it for us, right? They did the whole thing, soup to nuts, as they say. Great delivery, very fantastic to work with, had a variety of options. And it's nice to support someone local here within the Valley as well. Spencer's TV and Appliances, 11 Valley locations, employee owned and operated, same day and next day delivery available, and the largest selection of in-stock appliances as well to boot. I do have something if you guys are looking for a discount. Again, use code PHNX5 for 5% off appliances, or use PHNX10 for 10% off TVs, audio, and mattresses. Again, PHNX5 for 5% off appliances, or PHNX10 for 10% off TVs, audio, and mattresses. Gotta love Spencer's. Appreciate you guys. Also, gotta shout out our friends over at Phoenix Raceway. Championship weekend. It's gonna be here before we know it. It's spooky Halloween weekend. October 31st through November 2nd. Phoenix Raceway. Listen, we've done a ton of events with them, right? We've gone out to races over at the spring races. It is fun. Listen, even if you're a NASCAR fan, you already get it. You already get that it's a lot to take in, being able to track throughout the season. This is the championship weekend. Need I say more, right? Championships in Arizona. You've seen the Final Four. You've seen the Super Bowls. This is a whole nother thing, because if you are watching people buzzing around at 200 plus miles per hour, you can't really describe it other than being there yourself. It really is something to behold. Even if you haven't not gone on to a NASCAR event before, highly recommend it just for the vibes. It is very unique experience for sure. Tickets, hospitality, and upgrades are still available. Get yours now at the link in our show notes. And remember, catch them, because it's the last time championship weekend will be in Phoenix for a while. All right.
First, before we go any
But
further,
of course,
I have to give you a round of applause there, Max. Your ad transitions were not nearly as cringe as Owen's last week's.
oh, don't worry. I got
Owen's last week's were absolutely
I'm the king.
terrible,
'Cause I'm the king.
horrible.
'Cause I'm the king.
You are the king. You're the ad man and ad king for
Darn
a
right.
reason.
Darn right.
Good
yeah.
for you, Max.
Well, I appreciate you. I mean, listen, Owen, who again, I almost didn't recognize you were saying Owen. I think you mean Mr. Vacations.
Yeah, Mr. Vacations. My
Mr.
apologies,
Vacations.
everybody.
He just can't stand up to it. It's not his thing. This is my thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Make sure to leave a like, by the way, as y'all are in here. I think we have to. We got to peel the Band-Aid. We got to talk about that second half. And boy, it's a brutal one. Well, oh man. We'll start off right. We got to start off with the second yellow. This is a tough one to me because I think, and maybe this is probably up for debate. Do I think it's a yellow? I think in a vacuum, sure, you could very much make the case. In real time, right? He's going for the ball. There is no malicious intent, but I can very much see it being, this is kind of the argument. I know Owen with his IFAB laws, Mr. Referee, he'd come in here and say, well, if I'm going to call it a yellow in any other situation, doesn't matter if he's on the first one. If you're going to call it a yellow, you have to give him a second yellow. Would you call that a yellow card? Would you call it a yellow card, period?
I would. Unfortunately.
Okay. That's kind of where I lean as well. And so in that mindset, we have to call that a second yellow.
Yeah, exactly. And the issue is Senge's first yellow, which is stupid, but not because of the referee. It was just dumb. He did not need to get himself in that position.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is dumb too. You just don't need to do that.
Going for the ball, a little late. I get there's no bad intent, but it's just like, especially too when the first one after it compounds, it's not worth it.
Exactly.
You're down to 10 men. And I get this is where we're probably going to have a little bit of debate, maybe amongst ourselves within chat. I mean, listen, you're playing down 10 men for what is a good part of 35 minutes? I mean, 40 plus, 45 plus after you add in extra time, something like that?
Probably 40-ish.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're going to tire, especially, knowing that it's your your center back right in there. It's tough, and I definitely think it can make a difference. I just can't. It's really hard for me to buy, barring some team that is completely just stacked with offensive talent. I just don't get how you sacrifice a 3-goal lead at home. Again, there's no real excuse. I mean, I know that plays into a factor, but let's kind of walk through the goals. I mean, first goal, goodness, I'm trying to think because I remember the last two are so vivid based on the goalkeeping errors. But I think the first one, right, well worked. I think there was kind of some interplay within the box. I think that maybe is due to, hey, your center back isn't in there. You're kind of trying to figure out man marking, all that stuff. But first one goes in, and you're at that point, are you even thinking that something could be on? Or it's like, okay, you got a goal. Maybe it makes it a little bit hairy. But like, I feel at that point, they're scoring in the 73rd minute. Like,
yeah,
there's no way, right?
As much as this season has kind of scarred me with the blown leads, it's the 73rd minute. That's very, 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 and add one more very for good measure late to make a 3-goal comeback. And it's surreal to kind of say, hey, Rising lost that game even after, or not lost. They drew this game after conceding in the 73rd minute. It's just weird. I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and kind of gets us into our second goal conceded. See Fat Kid in the chat. Rees, I'd like to apologize to you for taking up your time with the Racco versus Henry debate. It so very clearly doesn't matter. Like you said, former Phoenix Rising player, Gabby Torres. I mean, contributions in both the second and third goal. But, listen, you watch that back, the dip on the ball is insane. So, I will give him credit there. That being said, I can understand if maybe that ball gets spilled a bit because it does take a wicked turn back. It is so easy for, us sitting here, maybe someone who's not a Golden Boot winner like myself, to say, hey, from 35 yards out, the wicked dive down, you should easily be saving that. I disagree, but worst case scenario, if I can see you spilling it, I can see it. Maybe it's a little bit not of the cleanest save. You can't let it go under you. That you got to position your body in front. That is as textbook as it gets.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, it's kind of goalkeeper 101. I mean, if he spills it, Golden Boot winner Max Simpson could have been there and poached it and scored.
That's
but that's just such a bad goal to concede. I mean, I've spoke a lot about this season, about how Fat can mention about how there really isn't too much of a debate between Patrick Rokowski and Tristan Henry.
Sure.
And I felt like a lot of people hadn't quite seen just kind of a colossal mistake.
Yeah.
They've seen bad mistakes. They've seen, shots go in that probably shouldn't have, but they've yet to see like a colossal mistake from him. And I think this is the one that just kind of makes people realize there was no debate between these two, really.
Well,
it's margins, and they're not
is.
good margins.
It really is. And I think the tough part about it is like you gotta think of like in that moment, like the game situation, right? This is the 81st minute. You are down a man. It's 3-1. Like in theory, there should not there's no fear. Like see it out. Like okay, let's say you let in a second goal and you're within stoppage time. It gets a little hairy, but like barring something crazy, you should be fine. And I think the optics of, wait a second, the first goal, well worked by El Paso. Okay, cool. The second goal, this now empowers, not only does it power El Paso to say, wait a second, we just saw a goalkeeper absolutely spill this. The defense is kind of in shambles knowing that, center back is down. They're playing with 10 men. They're trying to figure out their positional, organizational positioning. But from a Rising perspective, you go from, hey, we're up 3-1, we're okay, we're in a good spot, to, man, that is going to tear you up kind of like psychologically and confidence wise. It's now 3-2 and you're just hanging on. The definition of hanging on.
I mean, every single time El Paso played a ball into the box, Rising was just trying to hoof it up. And, sometimes that can work. I mean, you think back to the not El Paso, Tulsa Open Cup game, April or May, years ago it feels like, but only a handful of months ago, where Rising were holding on for dear life in that game, holding on to get that one to penalties. Jerome Margarita was up top in that game, and they pretty much had 9 defenders behind him, just doing everything they could to hold on to that game. And, a defender would hoof it away, clear it away, whatever you want to call it. And Margarita would be there to, collect the scraps and force Tulsa defenders to be there and, wouldn't allow them to get back into the final third as quickly. And I understand Margarita's not here, but you still got other guys. You look at who's on the squad or not on the squad, on the pitch, those final 30 minutes, there's no one really with that level of pace that you want and can have in that spot where they're just pressing the defenders when they're getting the ball and kind of slowing down their attack, and took off Darius Johnson, took off Calvin Ross. I understand he was never going to play the 90 minutes, but it felt like, I understand, why the substitutions that Pa-Modou Kah made were made. I mean, you wanted to get on as many defensive-minded players as you want, but not having that just kind of pacey guy that's just going to, run up and down just to slow El Paso down as much as possible and not allow them to get right back in the final third like that felt like a mistake in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you're going off of, and I know we talked about it, but like going on Pat's comment of like, right, El Paso wasn't getting much. It was goalkeeping blunders. I think this is something where you even look traditionally, most of the time, how you see teams when they go down to 10 men and like, especially when they are defending a lead, especially when they're defending a multi-goal lead, is they really resort to a low block, right? They resort to a low block, put, all 10 men, maybe 9 in front of the ball, have one guy kind of up top as that outlet, and saying the only way you're going to beat us is you either going to have to find a playmaker who's going to be able to play the inch perfect pass through, hoof some, there's really no space in to play over the top, or you have a shot from distance. The tough part is when you allow that shot from distance, this is kind of where the psychology comes into play of, if you allow that second goal in from distance, you now are thinking, okay, as a defense, do we have to shift our lineup? Does that allow the space in behind? Does that mean that our goalkeeper now has to play further off his line, who is already, confidence, especially in goalkeeping, is such a finite thing? That shot from distance is the worst way to concede, especially in that situation, because it kind of unravels everything.
Absolutely.
And I will say, I do agree with you as well of you need to have that outlet of sorts, knowing that like, once you're down to 10 men, especially after that first goal is in, it's going to be obvious, kind of rip up the game plan, defend, hang on, do what you need to do. You have to see out a 2-goal lead for the last 20 plus minutes. Knowing that's a strategy, you gotta be able to just find an outlet. You do need some more pace up there. I do agree. I think that was a miss. Yeah, they don't have Joel anymore, but they do have guys who can get the job done. I would have liked to see, a little bit more proactivity there. And it leads us to the third goal. I will say, again, job well done. Gabby Torres, he put in a shift as we have seen. I mean, he kind of getting ragdolled up that left sideline. I mean, goodness. I'm almost kind of wondering, looking back in real time, is it the worst thing to try to throw a tactical foul in there? Because he was just kind of running the ragged, puts in that cross. Patrick Gorkowski, he goes out to claim it. And you look, especially watching it back, there's no one really close to him, and it's just a simple case of, is that second goal in his head? Did he mishear someone? Did he call his guys off? Was it just a simple case of kind of lost the ball, slips through him, falls to El Paso? It's now 3-3, and just the comeback complete. Rees, am I overanalyzing this? Was this purely a lack of confidence? Was there something else you think it could be at play? Because you're watching it back, there's no one really around him. It just kind of pops out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think you're right there. And that second goal was just in his head. I mean, it's almost a very similar mistake where the ball just goes under him.
Yeah.
And, obviously it doesn't lead to the goal, or it doesn't lead to the ball going in the back of the net. It leads to the shot. And it's just one of those moments where this one, especially because it's not really a shot, the ball's not curving awkwardly like the first or the second goal rather. This one needs to be clean.
If the second one, there's nothing you can really defend about it. The third one, there's absolutely nothing you can defend about. Yeah, that's tough.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's really what it is. You just cannot. This team shoots itself in the foot so many times, and you can analyze every single position group, but there's no group that when it shoots itself in the foot, it's more impactful than the goalkeepers. And this whole season, every single match, we've really said, oh, that's not great. It doesn't look good there.
We have seen some of the highest of highs and the lowest of lows within one season.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we understand, especially from a Phoenix Rising perspective, we've said this numerous times throughout the season, going into the season, knowing kind of the situation. This club has been spoiled by not just good goalkeeping, great goalkeeping, and consistent goalkeeping. You never really saw howlers on a consistent basis. Listen, for all we know, this could be something where mistakes behind them, and maybe this was just a very bad multi-howler instance. It's just we've seen the tape, man. This is not a debate you want to be having. This is not a conversation you want to be having. And for a club who is so young with an age, for a club who is trying to find their identity with new guys coming in, which we'll talk about, this is the position where you want that, solidity, a guy who has been here for numerous seasons. It's brutal. His teammates are going to have his back, but it's just, it's two colossal errors going from this was your top four in the West. It's not by any means over, but just you're making it so much harder on yourself.
Exactly. And, you're right there. I mean, they would have been top four in the West. They would have been in a home playoff spot. Now, I understand they're fifth place, so it's not like they're that high up. But
the West
they're 2 points off from missing the playoffs. And this would have been a valuable extra 2 points. And, back to the goalkeeper debate is, obviously you're right in saying that this club's been spoiled with their goalkeepers. I mean, you name a goalkeeper from any season, they were one of the best in this league.
100%.
The issue is, it's not like, these two guys that Rising have in are middle of the table in goalkeepers. They're in the bottom third, and Tristan Henry's a bit lower than that. Of goalkeepers, I think Rakowski's probably lower than that now too. It's just, I don't understand how you could have gone so wrong this year when, if you had taken a drop off from having a top 5 goalkeeper to, guy in the 10, 15 range, you'd say, okay, he's good, but he's not great. It is what it is. This is such a colossal, and I feel like we said that word 10 times this segment, drop off that I just don't quite understand how this happened.
I think the thing is too is you know what you have. You know what you have in Patrick Gorkowski, a guy has come in over the years, he's been serviceable, has done the job. At times, sure, there's definitely been a drop off from other keepers, namely, Rocco Rios Novo, who he's backed up. But it's it's something where you knew what you were getting. When you bring in someone else in Tristan Henry, you're thinking, is this going to be a legitimate competition? Is he that guy who can really raise the levels? And we all knew the answer was no, at least kind of what our expectations were. It's just frustrating where if you're going to go in that direction and stand by it, this is kind of the result. And I think kind of the fan base is like not really a surprise. Where I mean, Fat Kid as well. Was Rocco leaving a surprise?
No. I think in fact him coming back last season
shocked,
was a surprise.
Absolutely shocked. Yeah.
I mean, seeing him in MLS this year, I know it's with Inter Miami, which is effectively the Argentinian All-Stars, but it's not really a surprise. He's a better keeper than USL Championship level. Again, seeing him last season when that got announced that he was returning for 2024, that was more of a surprise than him not being here for 2025.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we do have a game to preview, and we will do so around the other side of this break. We'll shout out our friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. We love Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Again, they got the 4 locations throughout the valley. Wild Horse Pass is very much, my favorite, where, we've done multiple events there. We had our PHNX Fantasy Draft last week. Again, by the way, I don't think I've mentioned this already, but maybe I have. I definitely have. Again, I'm defending champ here. I did defend my fantasy draft winning ways.
Is this your Campeones tour?
Yeah, it's my Campeones tour with another winning side, because we did our draft at, Gila River Resorts Casinos at that Wild Horse Pass at their upper deck location. You can do your fantasy draft there. You can hang out, do all the different locations. But really, I think that upper deck area is so great because we're also going to be having all of our Cardinals away game watch parties there. Not this week, but all the other ones throughout the season, outside the ones we're doing fan trips. Go check out Gila River Resorts Casinos. We're going to be at their upper deck locations. Again, go to playathila.com. You do you. Visit playathila.com to learn more. Shout out to friends at Rally House as well. Rally House, if you are a diehard Arizona sports fan, which we all are, they genuinely have everything that you could need from each of the teams. And we're not just talking Suns, Cardinals, D-backs, ASU, but we're also talking Phoenix Mercury. We're talking about Phoenix Rising as well. You go to rallyhouse.com. They have a variety of Phoenix Rising merchandise. They have a variety of different things from all the different teams you support here throughout the valley, throughout this beautiful state of ours. Rally House, they have multiple locations in Tempe, Mesa, and Glendale, but you could also go online to rallyhouse.com. Great assortment. They ship to you. It's very easy, very convenient. They have a lot of unique things too, whether it's something you want to wear, whether it's something that you're trying to, cups, mugs, souvenirs, everything like that. Go check out rallyhouse.com. Go to Rally House either in person or online. Check them out today. All right. PHNX Rising. Back here.
Are we done talking about El Paso?
We're done talking about
thank God.
El Paso. Yeah, let's see. Back in the chat, so we have legit no excuses not have a backup lined up from the goalkeeping situation. Yeah, it's a toughie, but right? There's brighter things ahead, right? You get to play Vegas. James asking in the chat, Max is coming in the next game. I mean, but of course, why would I not be?
All right, that's the words of a man who's not going to be there.
Dollar beer night.
Wait, Owen's not going to be there, so you have to come.
Yes.
Phoenix Rising Football Club Stadium at 38th Street in Washington is a much more beautiful place when Owen's not there.
That's fair. I mean,
and when Max is not there too.
Most places are. For the first part, not the second. Phoenix Rising, this Las Vegas Lights team, right? They've been pesky, even at home for Phoenix Rising. Again, a lot of teams have been this season for them, but especially with Vegas, right? They've come in recently in recent seasons being, this is Phoenix Rising. We're doing how we are. Vegas, we're not doing so hot. Hasn't always gone their way. This Vegas team is bad. And we've said that before. I mean, this Vegas team, not great. They are coming off a win, admittedly, but that goal differential is absolutely horrific. Minus 21 in the West. They are bottom, but again, as we talked about, the crazy thing is too, only 6 points separated for them in Rising, so that also just shows how shambolic the West is. The West is kind of overall fraudulent outside of the top, really 2 or 3 teams. What do we make of this Vegas side?
Well, they're a team that's blown it up in the middle of the season. I think they got it all wrong when they appointed Antonio Nocerino as their manager. I was a little bit high on him. That's probably not the right word. It's probably like a little bit of a hill if we're doing it in a graph. Topography. Max, you're no topographer, but
big topographer, big geography on the PHX Rising podcast.
It just never worked out there, never clicked. They played Valentin Noel way too deep. Now he's in New Mexico. They let Malik Howell go. Shaft Brewer's gone. They've just made a lot of moves, letting guys go elsewhere. And I don't know. We'll see how it really pans out for them down the final stretch of the season. I think this is a team that, it can be pesky at times. I mean, you looked at Rising's game against them back in late May where it was a 1-0 win. Patrick Krakowski made a great penalty save. Rising didn't do much else the rest of the game. They scored off a no-bullet Hello header, and I think that was their only shot on target the whole 90 minutes. That it was a very tough team that Vegas was in that game because they weren't what people expected. People expected Vegas to sit back and let you have bulk of the possession. That's not what happened. Vegas, kind of took it to Rising in a ways. And who knows how it looks in this game? We'll have to see. To James Wilson's comment, they took a playoff team and blew it up. Sound familiar? I don't know if that's fully like 100% accurate. They lost Dennis Sanchez to New Mexico, and Dennis Sanchez was, I don't think he actually won Coach of the Year, but he was Coach of the Year last season because of what he did with that team. I mean, obviously they built a team out of scratch just weeks before the season, and he got them into the playoffs, got them a home playoff game. Him going to New Mexico hurt them a ton. And then appointing Nocerino, not great there, not great.
Not great indeed. There may be, I really try to caution, the use of silver lining, especially, form is so, barring you're a top team in the East, I feel form is so fleeting in the USL Championship, especially out here in the West. But if you're looking at a handful of Vegas's, call it last matches over the last, 2 months, I mean, they have hemorrhaged goals in certain situations. We're talking, against FC Tulsa, shipped 4. Orange County shipped 4. El Paso shipped 6. We're talking in their last, if I'm doing math, my big brain math head is working. We're talking in the last, 9 matches, 21 goals conceded? Something like that.
And they've conceded 4 goals or more 6 times this season. Funny enough, though, they also are tied for the most clean sheets in the league with Sacramento Republic. That's because Vegas had like 6 or 7. That's not a 6-7 joke. I apologize. In like the first 10 games of the season, it was a little nuts there. But and Rising have conceded the most goals in the league with 40. Not great. That's very ugly. Makes me want to throw up. Vegas only 1 goal behind with 39.
Only one goal behind. Again, the difference: Phoenix Rising a -2 goal differential in the West. Vegas again that -21. So there's maybe a silver lining for as much as Rising have been, conceding, shipping goals in their own right. They might have found someone that is a leg up, at least in recent form. You're looking at this Vegas squad, right? I mean, it's kind of tough, right? Again, they had that recent win over Lexington. I mean, is there anyone that kind of scares you? Is there someone who you should watch out from a Phoenix Rising perspective?
I don't know if there's anyone that really scares me anymore.
It's a tough one.
Johnny Rodriguez is a good enough striker in this league. I mean, he's got 7 goals this year. He's probably going to fluke his way to 10. He's good enough. He is wasteful at times. I mean, again, going back to that game back in May, he wasted 3 or 4 chances that he could have converted and flipped the game from a Vegas loss to a Vegas win. Gennaro Nigro's pretty good too on the left. It's really hard to kind of find guys that are exceptional in terms of like a team that's this bad. I mean, there's guys that are good players for this league, but it's just gone so wrong. Raiko Rosarena, I think he's another one of the keepers that is quite, at the bottom third of this league's goalkeepers by, goals prevented mark. He's not very great. Now, granted, the defense is pretty much a colander. They just don't stop much.
Nice.
So But again, he's got 8 clean sheets, so they must count for something.
We're making colander jokes here on the PHNX Rising podcast.
I mean, we got 2 teams that are colanders, defensively. So
I guess it is a colander. I called it I always called it a strainer. Strainer, colander.
I think a strainer is what it does, but I think
true.
its proper name is colander.
No, would you? Is this a geography cultural thing? What would you call it?
A strainer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're
It's a
probably
strainer.
right.
Okay. This all it's good.
Well, some people would call you a footballer, Max. I wouldn't.
Dang, yeah, golden booter. I think is more like it. Let's see. The chat, they're already acting, kind of acting accordingly. Going by Pat, 3 points are a requirement. You can't only take 4 points from 9 on this homestand. I agree.
I completely agree.
And here's the thing: going into it, even without the benefit of the hindsight of knowing how these games have just been, the brutal collapse against El Paso, you look at the competition again. You can't measure everyone just based on their table position and whatnot, but that has to factor in. This adds even further knowing how last match went. I mean, you have to get 3 points here. You got to get 3 points.
I completely agree. I mean, obviously the hindsight of it, 7 points stings even if you win versus Vegas. But, my foresight of it before this 3-match homestand was 7 points is not only manageable, but I would say that's pretty good because Colorado Springs can be a difficult opponent. El Paso, we know how difficult they can be for Rising as well. And Vegas must win. If you lose to Vegas, you draw to Vegas, pack it up, let's go home for the rest of the season and just forget about it. And now that we're at this point of the season, not this tail end of the homestand, I still agree that it's a must win because you got to get back on track. You got to just push as far as you can in this Western Conference because there's a chance this team could host a home playoff game by some miracle.
I mean, listen, we've always it's kind of funny the gift of not just hindsight but even reflection. We have talked over the years.
The same thing, isn't it?
Hindsight is okay. Well, hold on. Hindsight is more of you're looking. Don't Google. Don't search what it is. Hindsight is more so you're looking back. And with reflection, and hindsight's making someone help me out. I'm crashing out.
Hindsight's definition is understanding of a situation or event only after it has happened or happened or developed. Reflection is serious thought or consideration.
Yeah. So reflection is looking back on something. Hindsight is looking back, making a judgment on it. Noah.
Yeah, hindsight's like you're trying to.
I'm trying to rationalize my current situation based on the past, whereas reflection, I'm just looking back at it.
Yeah,
I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, upon reflection, after this match against Vegas, we have said numerous times throughout the PHNX Rising podcast over the years, this game a must win. There have been times where we've said it from a team kind of vibe standpoint of you're 4 matches in. This is a must win. We've said this. With halfway through the season. And at various points, I think things can be must win. We're calling what it is. After this match against Vegas, there are 6 matches remaining in the regular season.
Is that really all?
Oh, sorry. 7 matches remaining. Thank you. We're almost there. 7 matches remaining of the USL Championship regular season. 7 matches remaining. You have to be able to lock up points because even though, you might be able to say, it's 4 points from the 3 games, not 7. No big deal. You're going to get to a point where mathematically you will be eliminating yourself from hosting top 4. And if you're not careful, we've seen this in the past, you could be flirting with missing the playoffs altogether.
I completely agree.
It's scary. I don't want to be talking about this. I don't want to be talking about that. But the limbo that Rising fans are in of wait a second, we could be either hosting a playoff match for the first time in years or missing it altogether for the first time in years. What?
It's very scary. And the 7-match stretch to end the season is very, very difficult for Rising. I mean, Sacramento away the week after this coming game against Vegas, that's going to be a test. And then it's another 3-match homestand, but it's against a very good Loudoun side from the Eastern Conference. They've got then 2 games against Oakland, a team that's fighting for a playoff spot. New Mexico, rivalry game, derby game. Not going to listen to anyone else's opinion. It's a rivalry. and they're also in the hunt for a playoff spot. They're barely in right now. The North Carolina, San Antonio home, Pittsburgh away. It is very difficult. The margins are going to be razor thin. You need to pick up the points where they're not guaranteed, but 99% guaranteed. This is one.
There are 3 points that separate 4th from 9th. It is crowded. It is very crowded. And then, again, you look at the drop-off from 10, 11, and 12. Those are only 3 to 4 points behind there. It is so razor thin. It is a crazy universe where Phoenix Rising legitimately play your cards right. It's not by any ways inconceivable to think they could finish. I highly doubt it. They could finish as high as 2nd. They could also finish 11th. Like this isn't crazy. And the way the West is going, you're looking at the form that everyone's coming in with. I don't think that's going to change, but you will get to a point where, like, no matter how erratic form is, if you do not take your chances, you are playing with fire, hoping that teams keep dropping points and dropping points and dropping points.
It's scary, very scary, and I think I will have numerous nightmares over the coming months about this.
And I will rock myself to sleep. We will do predictions for this match on the other side of our last break. You got to get your head in the game.
Oh,
Am I right? And with our friends
You're
at
doing
Brandon,
so good, Max.
with our
You're
friends at
4
Brandon
for
Bills,
4.
that's exactly how you can get your head in the game. Noah's looking nice with nice Brandon Bills action behind the brand redacted computer. I got some. I'm not rocking it myself, but we got Brandon Bills all through in the studio. You see them in Studio K. They are everywhere. Brandon Bills. Just a fantastic place, right? They have ASU hats. They have Suns hats. They even have U of A hats. If that's your thing, Brandon Bills.
Not.
They're only making the highest quality headwear. They have that moisture wicking kind of headband thing. There's probably a more technical name with it, but I'll tell you this. There is not a hat that I own that feels better. It's because I only rock with Brandon Bills. You are going to see me in a Brandon Bills hat when I'm wearing hats. That's just a fact because they feel better, they look cooler, and they have the best designs. Plain and simple. They are Arizona born and bred out in Mesa. And if you go to brandonbills.com, you use the link in our show notes as well. Use promo code BBPHNX for 15% off your order. Again, that link in our show notes, brandonbills.com, BBPHNX for 15% off your order. Do it today. Do it today right now. Also, shout out our friends at Shady Rays. You want to block out the haters. You want to look cool. You want to be able to say, hey, I'm just, too cool to worry about whether Phoenix Rising is going to finish 2nd or finish 11th. No big deal that's a massive gap and that the next 2 months of the season are going to be absolutely diabolical and it's going to be scared. You can just block everything out with our friends at Shady Rays. Shady Rays, they have the premium polarized shades rated 5 stars or better by over 500,000 people. It's the best. I only own Shady Rays, and it's not because I'm an admin and the corporate shill that I am, but it's because they genuinely are the best. They feel good, and they also have the leading lost and replacement guarantee program in all of the Rebel sunglasses. Go to shadyrays.com, use promo code PHNX for what's that? 35% off your order. Pretty cool. Shadyrays.com. Do it today. All right. We got to do this whole prediction thing, which is always super fun.
I was right last week. I predicted 3-3. I was right.
I feel a lot of us have been doing these crazy unhinged predictions, and yeah, that's honestly a good time to do it. This is a weird one because I feel like it's right. Okay, on the one hand, there's not a lot of optimism off the last match to make me think that things can go well. On the other hand, how isolated is an incident like that, and also it is Vegas. I'll start off proceedings here. I'll go with a 2-1. I think it's going to be hairy, but I think Phoenix Rising will win this, and they will get 3 points, 7 out of 9. It'll be a decently nice spin to a very up and down homestand for them.
I'm going to go 3-2. Rising can score, or Vegas can score.
I do like that a lot.
Can't score, but neither team can defend, and when neither team can defend, that leads to a lot of goals. I think Rising has to get the 3 points, so 3-2. I sure hope it's not 3-0 and then they concede 2 goals late and you get worried about no way this can happen again, but 3-2.
I mean, the fans at Dollar Beer Night, they will riot.
As if people show up.
Yeah,
didn't look great last week. Didn't look great the week before.
Well, Dollar Beers might help. We'll see. James Wilson going with 3-0, Rising with the bounce back after last week. Yes, make sure to go ahead and send in your predictions. Noah, what do you got, by the way?
5-7.
Not 6-7?
Who? So you 5-7. You have Vegas. By the way, you're listing that. Is that correct?
Oh, sorry. We'll go
7-5.
Actually, no. Yeah. Well, 7-4.
7-4. Okay.
7-4.
Okay. He redacts. Going by Pat. Well, going by Pat has to beat 11-10. Rising winning.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Football. That's football.
That is football. That's quite the.
This is football.
That is quite the mix of goals. Philip in the chat, if Rising continue to perform cautiously, then does this open the door further? Thank you. To the team getting words are hard usurped by the effort to bring an MLS team to Mesa. I don't know. They got to be better. That's all I know. That's all
on and off the pitch.
That's true. But yeah, especially on the pitch. I mean, listen, you got Dollar Beer Night, right? Like, this team has hung their hat on Dollar Beer Night for years, especially after the time period where they did not have them. I get it. It's not the same, and we're not trying to say it is, but I mean, that's going to bring some new people out. The weather, it's finally like at a not like unbearable time of the year. Come out, show out. I hope it's a raucous atmosphere. I hope they pump the brakes off a Vegas team, but like, it's a lot to ask. Yeah, honestly, that's a really sad thing to say against a Vegas team that is not great, to say the least. But I don't know. Let's see.
New signings time?
I think it is a new signings time. I'm trying to think. There's not really else from this match that I really want to talk about. No. Like, get 3 points, drink them dollar beers, have a good time. Phoenix Rising, new signing announced. Cameroonian midfielder Jean-Éric Moursou.
I'm intrigued. Thank you. Played with a team from France that I'm definitely not going to pronounce right because I am not French, nor do I speak French or anything French. Valenciennes? Definitely not.
Valenciennes FC.
Valenciennes FC.
Gotta add a little accoutrement to it.
He played a handful of games there. He played in League 2. I don't remember 2 in French either. I think it's deux. I think deux, something like that.
Deux?
Handful of games. He's young.
No, it doesn't like
I'm fascinated though. I've watched some of his games when he was with Coton Sport in Cameroon in the CAF Champions League against Mamelodi Sundowns. That's a pretty big team. He had a pretty interesting performance. Won a lot of balls. He's a bit short, but he's got long legs. Defensively, I'm intrigued to see what the translation to USL is. His stats, it's just he has too small sample sizes to really judge. I'd imagine he plays as a 6 or an 8. I can't imagine it's 10 as a 10. I mean, if it is a 6, this team's been crying out for a 6 pretty much since week 1 of the season. As good as JP Skiers can be defensively on the ball, he just offers next to nothing. And then Carl Saint defensively is weary. Passing the ball, and when he's moved back to center back, I quite rate him compared to his 6. But this is its position of need for this team.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it also noted in the press release, it also does come with an option to buy, which is an interesting note as well.
It is. That's the second loan with option to buy. Daniel Flores also has an option to buy in his loan.
Yeah, and yeah, it's. I mean, get it. It's an interesting contrast, right? The option to buy, but also the quote from Rising head coach Pa-Modou Kah. Moursou will bring toughness, but also as someone who can play with the ball. He's a midfielder that can do a great job both on and off the ball. He's young, hungry, and sees our club as an opportunity to elevate himself and hopefully move on.
I feel like that's kind of been Rising's ethos, though.
It has been. It sure has been.
Recognizing what bringing in young talent can do for yourself. I mean, Orange County, they've been doing it for these last couple of years where I know Orange County hasn't been great there and they don't have the budget to be great, but they're bringing in these guys and then selling them on. Bryce Jameson, they're going to sell him to Colorado Rapids after this season. It is a smart way to do business. Louisville does it and they're one of the best teams in the league. It works for teams, whether you're the richest club or the poorest club. Bringing in young talent and then selling them on will help you immensely.
100%. I think this, right, Phoenix Rising, they very much, again, we've said this season, it's been very evident. They have been going with more of a youth movement. I mean, it's coming in at age 20. This definitely, continues to be on the lower end of that. But it'll be interesting, right? I mean, they've brought in a couple guys midseason to varying degrees of playing time and success. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. Listen, I think especially in that midfield, like we've been, I think, crying out for a bit more of that consistency with someone who can play a bit more in the box to box, especially, I think, as Pa-Modou Kah notes, not just on the ball, which is important and which I think we actually have decent amount of quality, but like off the ball, like that positioning defensively and being able to be a not just a cog, but also a clog up in the midfield. That's, you need kind of a wrecker. You need someone who can kind of, I'm not trying to typecast him as is or isn't already, but like you just need a bit more of that. Can we please just stop accounting? Can we please stop that it's 3-2 and you have someone like Gabby Torres who's out on the wing, you know that ball is going to come in. Can you have someone kind of be able to clear a ball, be able to kind of calm down, let's kind of put the brakes on it. You need a little bit of that. And, you know, again, that's a lot to put on a 20-year-old, and not saying he is or isn't going to be that guy, but the more that you can bring in people who have some experience, even if coming from the rec leagues of France,
Third
as
division,
he's joking.
Isan Sako played there.
He is, right? I mean, you know, being able to have some sort of pedigree and playing overseas, let's hope that translates to a bit more of some calmness on and off the ball.
Hopefully. And then the other signing Rising had is the exact opposite of more so Rafael Shihos. I definitely pronounced that wrong. The pronunciation guide doesn't make sense to me, so that's not great. But, you know, he is 35. Older than you. That's a rare sound nowadays.
That's crazy. I'm not that old.
I am intrigued. I know he played the tail end of this game against El Paso. Hate to mention that game. Sorry, guys, for bringing that one up. But I'm intrigued. There's got to be a reason why he hasn't played for a club since he was released by Chicago Fire at the tail end of 2024. And at 35, it's worrying. Obviously, the experience is great, but when a guy drops down to USL, there's something wrong with him. And I know that there's something wrong with a player when they come to USL. Like Fede Varela, you know, he was a great passer in Europe. Why did he come here? Okay, his physicality is just nothing. What's wrong with Shihos? I think that's how it is. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, you've seen his pedigree. He's played, you know, like at a very, very high level, you know, in the Bundesliga, you know, even at MLS to the degree that he did, you know, 2022, you know, 3 years ago, kind of actually feels like forever ago, my word. But I mean, right, that's not like super, super far away. You know, right, probably lost a step to a degree, a little bit older. I do agree. It is kind of the skeptic is, okay, cool. It all seems nice, the pedigree, but like, what's wrong with him? We will have to see. It is a bit of a dichotomy, and I don't really know. It kind of does seem a little bit counterintuitive to what's going on, but maybe it's a bit of that experience that needed. Maybe it's a bit of that, hey, come in to try to help solidify, see out a game. I don't know if I necessarily peg him as a big minutes guy. Certainly not a starter, but like I could be very wrong. We'll have to see.
I agree.
Yep. James Wilson, Chad. We've been calling out for a pitbull at defensive mid since we lost Carlos Harvey, so hopefully he has some of that in him, referring back to the previous signing. And going, Pat.
Did you forget his name already? You forgot Jean-Éric Moursou's name already, didn't you?
More so or less.
No.
And going on Pat, probably because he's 35 and want to stay in the U.S. to play. Totally fair. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Probably everything Rising-wise. Want to wrap up? Little Prem. First 3 weeks. Transfer window close. How do you feel about them Gunners?
I have zero worries, unlike most people I speak to, because, you know, it was a game at Old Trafford that was ugly, that we never played well at. A game at Anfield where we never played well at either. And it was a cagey match where the only reason we lost is because a genuine goal of the season free kick.
That was
Dominic
a beautiful free. That
Szoboszlai.
is an absolutely beautiful free kick. I will say David Raya, he doesn't really handle free kicks.
No,
well.
he doesn't. But I mean, that one's so top bins.
That is so top.
Like,
I don't know.
No one's stopping
I don't know who is. You like the transfer window? Yeah, they're pretty decent transfer.
I'd say it would be the best one if Liverpool didn't break the transfer record twice.
Yeah, not great.
If they break it just once, or someone else it twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about Spurs though?
I mean, honestly, you kind of look at the kind of beginning and the end, knowing like they brought guys in who improved the starting 11. I think they did well, especially by their standards. For their standards, I think they did well. I think I've seen a lot of grades like around 7. I think it's like 7 out of 10 is good. Averages out to a 3 out of 4. Pretty good. I would say this honestly was probably one of the better windows they've had in a while. It's just kind of demoralizing where it's like, yeah, but everyone around them is spending triple.
And you immediately lose 1-0 to Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, I actually think, is a very well-coached quality side.
I do think so. I just don't think they have the players this year that they
don't
did last
disagree.
year. As good as Semenyo is.
Absolutely. James Wilson, that free kick was literally out of this world. Good. Absolutely. Well, I think that about does it here for the PHNX Rising podcast. Appreciate everyone joining us. Meantime, you can follow the show at PHNX__Rising because double the underscore.
Hopefully double the episodes without Owen.
Let's go. Mr. Vacation's gone. You can follow me on Twitter at MaxDavidSimpson. You can follow Rees on Twitter at Rees11_. You can follow Noah on Twitter at... Oh, gosh.
It isn't.
Nowhere.
No, you have yours. Noah, something. You don't want people to follow you. That's crazy. Should we have people follow? You can follow Owen at OJ Evans Wrexham.
Wrexham lover from Cardiff.
Wrexham.
I love England.
Gotta love it. We'll be back next week per usual. Enjoy Dollar Beer Night, all that fun stuff. It is a beautiful game, but it's way more beautiful when Phoenix Rising don't go crazy. They're able to see a match out. They beat the teams that they need to, and they finish somewhere reasonably between 2nd and 11th, hopefully in the upper half of that. Good night.
We all silly like the mayor.